Go home, go hard, go home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, go home, go hard, go home. Yeah, these championship rings on my hands now. In my head I'm top 10, yeah, that's hands down. You a squad, know you're looking man down. Funny how foes turn to friends now. Drive a race car like a Atari now. Call filling up, I need product again. Treat the business like a playground, might slide on you. Don't me wrong, might slide on you. Do a backflip, cause I'm mad rich. I'm the definition of what that is. Go hard, go home, go hard, go home, go hard, go home, go hard, go home. Touchdown like the end zone. When the circle turn to my home, can't get me out of my zone. Go hard, go home.
Good evening. I'm sorry we're late. Tim is sorry that I'm sorry that we're late. But hey, the only thing that matters right now, it is 9:27 p.m. And guess what, Longhorn Nation? OU still sucks. Tim, you're on mute. This is my guy, Tim Wayne. We got a lot to talk about today. Tim Wayne, how you doing tonight, man?
Man, I am pumped. Especially with the news that we got earlier today. I'm super excited. I want to talk some trash today. Cash money. Okay,
cash money. You trying to get on my level of trash talk?
I got some stuff that I wanted, but I'm coming with facts.
Oh yeah, I like to come with delusion and then hope it sticks.
Hey man, it's okay to be a little delusional.
It's worked for me for a couple of years, right? I mean, last year I was told I was delusional when I said we would beat OU, and that worked out pretty well.
That worked out great.
I was told I was delusional when the schedule came out and said that this is going to be a really good Texas team and we're going to beat Alabama on the road. Like that worked out great. I still think we're going to make the Big 12 championship game. We're going to win the whole damn thing, honestly.
The whole thing, the last Big 12 championship will be won by the Texas Longhorns. That's what you believe.
Yeah. No. The last relevant Big 12 championship will be won by
the last relevant Big 12 championship.
Yeah.
Right. Because this isn't the last one.
After this year, no one cares. Right. No one cares after this year.
I think those guys up there on the West Coast would think a little bit differently, but hey, they're not even here yet. So
we don't care about that anyway. Anyway, we got a lot to get to. We're having a good time. We are just under 48 hours away from Red River. Probably the most exciting Red River in a long time, right? Both teams 5-0. Texas is this is the highest Texas is ranked heading into Dallas in a very long time.
Right.
Lots of good things going on. But hey, before we get started, I've got to get this out of the way because I've said hey like 3 times, hoping to get this out. I still haven't gotten in the way.
Yeah.
But if you guys don't know, we are brought to you by Fan Battle Sports. Please visit us, fanbattlesports.com, where you can find all your content for the Fan Battle Sports Podcast Network. AFC South, if you guys are AFC South fans, lots of content there. It's a tie division. The Colts only lead the division because our names start with the C, right? So you have to go in alphabetical order. So we lead the division because we start with the C. So, still division winners.
Oh man.
Still kind of celebrating, tough loss last week. But hey, anyway, catch all the content there. Articles from folks like Josh Senior, Matt Briggs from the Texans, lots of good stuff. The AFC South here, real quick, right?
Okay.
I think it's slowly becoming a more competitive division than people anticipated.
Oh, not you taking up for the big old AFC South, huh?
Oh no, I'm mostly talking because the Colts are actually better than people expected, but and the Titans are worse than everyone expected, so it's kind of balanced out. And the Jaguars still can't win in back-to-back seasons, so that's still holding up true. But anyway, but yeah, and hey, I was a CJ Stroud stan, so seeing him be successful is great. Having to watch him twice a year to see it happen sucks. But anyway, nobody cares about them. We're here to talk about the Longhorns. Also, follow us on Twitter. We did have a goal to get to 300. A little bit ambitious, but hey, we can still get to 150 by Saturday. Follow us at LH Fan Battle. We're at 127 currently. I just need 13 of you, right? There are 23 of you guys to go hit that follow button on Twitter. Follow us on YouTube. Follow us. What's so funny? You don't want people to follow us on YouTube?
No, it's just it's. I'm just ready to talk trash. I'm so sorry. I'm so ready to talk.
You were making me worried there for a second.
Oh no, nothing crazy, nothing crazy. Just ready to get to it, baby.
Right. We're almost there. 30 more seconds of talking. All right, follow us on Twitter, LH Fan Battle. Yeah, good times. Hit the follow button, like, subscribe, comment, do all the things. Tim, I know we want to talk about the team a little up north, but let's briefly touch on the drubbing.
Absolutely.
The boat race that we gave Kansas last weekend.
Absolutely.
It was so bad, Tim. It was so bad. I had the nerve to type in Jayhawks, Kansas. Didn't even notice it. But hey.
You noticed it. Yeah, it was a little bit of a bloodbath. At first it started off kind of slow. Again, we talked about it previously. When you have a rival coming up like Oklahoma, you kind of want to keep things close to the chest, which Texas did. They didn't really get too fancy with the play calling. They basically went in there, got it done like they're supposed to. And then, you just saw Jonathan Brooks really just take off again.
I'm trying to tell you, man. Let me tell you this. I tried to tell you, Tim.
You did.
8 weeks ago, I told you, it's like, look, man, this guy didn't average 7 yards a carry for no reason.
Absolutely. And so with that being said, man, again, we did get a CJ Baxter sighting. He did come back. He had been nicked up a couple of weeks, but he's back. He looks good. But Jonathan Brooks, man, he looks like one of the best backs in college football right now.
I think Jonathan Brooks currently ranks third in the nation in rushing.
That's amazing.
And he's done that on the heels of 300-yard games back to back to back. Right. He had like 100 or so yards against Wyoming.
Mm-hmm.
And then he had the great game not Wyoming, Baylor.
Okay.
And then he had the good game last week against Kansas. Oh, he did also play well against Wyoming 3 weeks ago, right? So Wyoming obviously has his career high against Baylor. It was 168 yards. And then last week just absolutely blew that out of the water, right? Jonathan Brooks last week was absolutely unreal. And mind you, he only got 20 carries last week.
Right.
CJ Baxter actually ended up having 16 carries for 80-something yards? Or 15 carries for 67.
He got to a point to where he was in for a good period of time. I want to say the second quarter he received a lot of action.
Yeah.
That second and third quarter he received a lot of action. But overall, I'm just really highly impressed with just the offense and the defense in general. They held Kansas to 10 points?
Yeah, 14 points.
14 points. One was a fluke. You just don't see that happening where a ball just bounces off the ground and immediately bounces.
Oh yeah.
That's something that you normally don't necessarily see. That is a luck of the draw. So, but hey, they were able to put the points on the board, so that's that in their argument, they were able to score on the defense. So, kudos to them. As you said, there was almost 700 yards of offense. I'm sorry, almost 700 yards in total offense through the air and through on the ground, which I didn't even realize as I was watching the game.
Yeah.
You sent me that text message after it. I told you I didn't even realize what was going on. I just remember seeing all these big plays. I never thought, or even I wasn't paying attention to the stats. I was just happy to see them, just do the basics, right?
Yeah.
Get the basics done. Get these guys out here, step on them, and get on with the next week.
The score does not really truly dictate how dominant Texas was in that game.
Right.
When you put up 700 yards of total offense, right, at any period in time, I don't know any school that's done that. I don't know very many teams that have done that.
No, absolutely
to anybody. And it wasn't just like 600 yards passing, 100 yards rushing. Right? It was actually pretty balanced, right? So
right.
Texas ends up with 661 total yards, 325 in the air, 336 on the ground. That's basically as close to 50-50 as you're going to get. Right?
Absolutely.
And it's very, very, very impressive that Quinn everybody kind of got theirs. A.D. Mitchell was amazing last week. I think he had over 10 catches last week. I want to say 10 catches or 11 catches for 100 and something yards. 10 catches, 141 yards, and a touchdown.
Shout out to A.D. Mitchell, man.
This is what Sark was talking about when he says that this offense is scary. Here's the thing. Now you can't roll protection to Xavier Worthy every single play if you're the defense.
Yeah.
A.D. Mitchell can do that to you.
Right.
And that's Jatavian Sanders leaving the game. Remember, Jatavian Sanders leaves the game in like the second quarter.
Yeah.
Early in the second quarter.
Yeah, quite early.
Yeah. And they still managed to focus in. A.D. Mitchell was unreal. And it's just another reason why. And we'll talk about it later. I don't think OU has a prayer in hell to win this game. But I'm just saying. But we'll talk about that later. But the other thing I want to call out real quick.
Okay.
Texas allows 91, 92 yards in the first quarter of this game. Right. Triple option. They allow 30.
Yeah, they got some big runs off. They got some big runs off in the first quarter.
Yeah. Well, that triple option kind of threw them off a little bit. I think the whole preparing for Jalen Daniels and then all of a sudden seeing Jason Beam, come into the game like minutes before kickoff. Yeah. Minutes before kickoff, right?
Right.
Hey, actually Jalen Daniels isn't playing tonight. Jason Bean's going to be the core. I texted you. I was like, hey man, what Jason, Jalen Daniels not playing. You're like, Jalen who? And I was like, well, the quarterback for Kansas is not playing. So that was kind of weird. So 91 yards in the first quarter, 30 yards the rest of the game. That's what the defense did.
That's absolutely listen. When you want to talk about, I don't know if they got chewed out. I don't know what happened. But
I don't know what adjustments they made.
I don't know what I know that if they would have continued to let Kansas march down the field, they did the first.
This game would have been way closer.
That would have been a long game. That would have been a long game, but they didn't. So again, what I've always been preaching and what I've always preached is that Texas not necessarily letting people hang around. And even in the second half, playing a complete game, coming in and finishing the game, limiting penalties. They didn't have a lot of penalties this game. It was a relatively clean game. Again, Xavier Worthy, not only did he have a great game, but he had some key blocks. Like I remember seeing him like basically try to pile drive a cornerback into the ground.
There was a play. Was it Cam Williams or DJ Campbell or was it Kelvin Banks. There was a play where one of those two basically opened up the hole so bad for Jonathan Brooks. They basically took 2 defensive linemen with them. Was that last week? The hole opens up. Like I want to say it was Kelvin Banks.
I want to say that was last week, where it was just this gaping hole that you just see.
Because you block 2 people into one player, and it's just it's absolutely unreal. These trenches are that we've got. We haven't seen trench play like this in a long time.
Is this the most impressive part of the team? I would say the offensive play and the defensive line, have come together so well and so quickly. It's very, very impressive. Texas doesn't give up a lot of sacks. They may give up a lot of hurries, and you could blame that on the offensive line. You could blame that on Quinn for holding on to the ball too long because he could be looking for the big play. So it could be a number of things that you could blame it on. But relatively speaking, Quinn is getting out of there relatively clean. And let's not also take it to the fact Quinn is starting to use his feet.
And when you lose 30 pounds, it helps a lot, doesn't it?
I mean, he was still pretty light in the butt, if you ask me. 220, 225, that's light stuff.
It is, but is it easier to move at 225? It's easier to move at 185 than it is at 222 or 225.
You're exactly right. I'm no health coach. I got a gut on me, so
neither am I. I mean,
I like burgers, fries, and pizza, and all that.
Hey man, I had some pasta for dinner tonight, so I'm definitely carrying some weight
fantastic.
For you. Bro, it was so good. Anyway, but yeah, I think that helps. And these aren't just like 5-yard, 10-yard scamper.
No, he ran for 30 yards.
Yeah,
he ran a 30-yard touchdown.
Yeah, he did it this week, and then he did it last week against Baylor too. The 28-yard touchdown. It was 40 this week, 30 last week, I think.
Right. And he also ran. He had 2. He had 2 rushing last week, right? Where he had that bootleg.
Yeah, and then he had the little bootleg out to the outside boot.
Yeah, and he was moving. You know what I mean? He got to the pylon. That's all the coach wants you. Get to the pylon. Don't get knocked. Don't get hit. Get to the pylon. Get the touchdown.
Get some points.
And he did it. And I can't knock it. I can't say that there wasn't anything negative that I didn't like, other than again that first quarter. But you talk about a cleanup, man. 30 yards for 3 quarters of rush. This is some of the, and again, we don't want to take too much time, but Kansas is not a bad team when it comes to rushing the football. Whether it's they have a mobile quarterback, they have 2 mobile quarterbacks. My man Dean ran a 10-5 or a 10-3 in a 100-yard dash. Like, this guy can scoot if he wants to. And he has a rocket arm. That guy is going to be something, because that touchdown, that first touchdown he had.
Yeah, it was a blaze.
Oh, my God. If that kid gets an opportunity, he's going to look really good.
I don't think he's been in the NCAA for like 6 years at this point.
Dean?
Yeah. This is like a 6th year NCAA. No, because he got all those COVID years.
Man, so he'll be there for another 2 years at least.
No, man, I think he's done after this year. But he you're starting to see a lot of those guys who are just down their COVID years, down their like 5th, 6th year.
Right.
There's a lot of those guys out there, and they're going to these little schools, right? They're going to Baylor, they're going to like Kansas, and it's because they can't go to any Power 5 school and play.
It's too deep.
Nick Saban's not taking no 6-year dude.
I mean, he took Mac Jones.
Mac Jones wasn't in college for 6 years.
Wasn't he there for 5?
No, he was there for 4.
He was there. Okay.
He just sat behind like 6 quarterbacks. who all happened to also go be in the NFL.
Did you see that picture? It was like not Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Tua, Mac, and somebody else, some other I was like, bro, like, how did he get all this time? It's Alabama. Anyway, let's move on.
We got it all now. Who cares? Anyway, moving on next. So Kansas sucks. Texas doesn't. We move on. 40-14. Texas rolls Kansas. All right, Tim. Let's talk about why we're all here.
Let's get to it.
Red River. So, couple of keynotes. Go ahead.
Okay. I have to do this. I have to say this.
Oh, no.
I have to. One, it's kind of hilarious to see these big time sports writers, broadcasters, commentators, and anybody you could think of is anti-Texas.
Oh no.
Specifically, I'm talking to you, RJ Young. I'm talking specifically to you. He and I watch these people because I am not an annoying Texas fan. I don't always believe that Texas is back. I don't always believe that we're going to win the national championship every year. Am I a fanatic of the University of Texas? Absolutely. But just listen to this. 70-3, 73-0, 28-11, 66-17, 20-6, and last week 50-20. Now, you would say, oh, these are really, really good teams. Listen to the teams. Arkansas State, SMU, Tulsa, Cincinnati, Iowa State. Oklahoma, and this is what drives me nuts about it. Y'all sit up here and you complain, oh, well, we haven't let anybody get over 10 points but one time or two times in the process of us playing these last 5 weeks. If you don't shut that crap up, the amount of trash that I've heard from Oklahoma. First off, Dylan Gabriel, he's so good. Y'all played bums. And no disrespect to any of these schools, but like, come on, bro. Come on. No. SMU hasn't been good in how long?
Since they paid money illegally?
Basically, the 80s. Okay. Arkansas State, that's a money grab. Tulsa, are we serious about Tulsa? Are they a real threat? Cincinnati, they haven't been good in 3 years. Right? They were decent a couple of years ago. Iowa State, they ain't been good since Brock Purdy left. So,
well, they're also busy gambling on their team.
That too. So for me, and I'm really trying my best not to curse because my mom said I need to stop cursing. I'm trying my best not to curse. But when you look at these opponents, to me, nothing to me says that this is a dominant team. Yeah, this is a dominant team versus lesser opponents.
Yeah.
Right? And you could say, oh, Tim, but y'all haven't played anybody. Wyoming, did we forget Wyoming actually put up a dub against Baylor? And that Baylor team almost beat Oregon. Oh, no, I'm sorry. That was Texas Tech. I'm sorry. Texas Tech.
They lost to Texas Tech. Yep.
They lost to
who, by the way, Texas Tech is bad. They're really bad.
We don't even. They are trash.
Terrible.
They are trash. Wyoming was a difficult team. Let's just put it like this: Wyoming aren't just some team that you could just think you could walk in and beat. They play very hard.
Right.
Okay. Rice, we already know that it's been decades since we lost Rice. Bama, they're still talking about Alabama being able to possibly win the SEC because it's open, and some people think that LSU is going to lose this weekend. That they have a great chance of losing this weekend. Okay. We don't know what the SEC looks like, unfortunately. At the end of the week, at the end of this next 2 weeks, it could get to a point to where it's only Georgia, and a lot of people think Georgia might wet the bed this week, but I don't see that happening.
Does Georgia play Ole Miss this week?
Kentucky,
Kentucky. Oh, that Kentucky team's actually low-key kind of good.
right. So that's why they think like, hey, Georgia's defense ain't that great, dog. Like, they're not that great. There could be a slip up. I don't think so, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I'm looking at a tail of the tape. And if you ask me, week 5, you want to be battle tested before you get to Oklahoma. You don't want to just roll into Oklahoma not tested. That's poor scheduling, which I hope they change.
It's gonna change next week.
Well, next year is going to change.
Next year.
They don't have a choice.
Conference realignment by itself is going to change next year.
Right. Conference realignment is going to be its own thing in itself.
Right.
So poor scheduling. You got 5 weeks to prepare for Texas. Yep. I just don't see how Oklahoma could say, "Oh, they're ready." And again, this is the Longhorn Fan Battle podcast. So when I'm referring to Texas, Texas has basically done everything that you could possibly do to get ready for this game. They faced a tough opponent. They had a terrible half, which was the first half of that Wyoming game. That was not the best half of football, and they've come back and they've seemed really, really resilient. Oklahoma, this is really their first matchup. So I just want to say, let's just kind of cut the malarkey, right? Like, let's not do that. And again, I'm really trying I'm trying my best not to curse, but I really, really want to. Let me just
listen. I won't tell anybody if you won't tell anybody.
Listen, man. Listen to the viewers out there. When it comes to OU hate week, like, I really don't care. I really don't care. I do not like the state of Oklahoma. I do not like the Oklahoma Sooners. I didn't like that Kevin Durant went to Oklahoma City Thunder. I didn't like
that's deep. If you didn't like the fact that Kevin Durant was there, that's pretty deep.
Man, and I love Kevin Durant, but it was like, man, why you got to go to Oklahoma City, man? Why they got to move your franchise from Seattle to Oklahoma City? That was trash. Anywho, yeah, man, it's just like I feel, and this is just me from fans, I feel a lot of false confidence.
And Oklahoma fans?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. But listen, I didn't screenshot this because I was busy working on some other stuff. I've seen Oklahoma fans post one thing when they talk to me,
right,
and post something the complete opposite when they go talk to somebody else.
Okay, let's see it.
Oh, I didn't screenshot it or anything.
Oh man, I thought that's what you was working on, baby. I thought you had to. I had
to reinstall Windows earlier today, so I was trying to get back into our Twitter account. Finally got back in. So, but no. Yeah, Oklahoma fans, they're so. Here's the thing, and we'll go into a little bit more detail into this, right? Mm-hmm. Texas won 49-0 last year.
Right. No, they're starting. To be fair, their starting quarterback was not in the game.
I don't care. We beat Oklahoma with Tyrone Swoops. I don't care what quarterback was in the game.
Oh, you went back.
Listen.
You went back there.
People want to talk about people. Listen, those are some dark days, and that's what makes it even worse. And the Oklahoma team that we beat was not a bad Oklahoma team. That was a good Oklahoma team.
It was not. It was actually a fairly decent team.
That was a good.
Was it that the year before the playoff?
Oh, I don't. What year was Tyrone Swoops? Was that 2007, 2008? Let me see.
No.
This was the Charlie Strong. This is the Charlie Strong.
So this is like 2015.
Oh, bro, it was like yeah, 2015.
Yeah.
Bro, that wasn't that
2014, 2015.
He beats Oklahoma. Remember, this is that stupid that stupid diesel
Joe
package.
Tessitore. This is when
No.
Joe Tessitore came out. No, that was Notre Dame. That was a Notre Dame game. We beat Notre Dame that year. They were number 10.
Right.
We beat them.
No, I get that.
Right.
But we basically beat them by running that same package for like 80% of that game.
What was it called? It was called like the freight train package or something like that.
It was the 18-wheeler package.
18.
You remember the 18-wheeler package? Bro,
right. So basically, Time Swoops, he was a tight end. He got converted, or he was a quarterback. He got converted to a tight end.
Right.
Who got knocked? Somebody got knocked out. Was it David Ash?
Yeah, David. He was David Ash's backup. These were the David Ash days where David Ash just he just couldn't stay healthy, right?
No. He had a good arm too. He just couldn't stay healthy at all.
Dude, David Ash is actually really good,
and he could run.
Yeah, and he could run. This was the Tyrone Swoops year, so this is 2016.
2016. There we go.
Let me see. Was this 2016? Yeah, it was 2016. We beat him 24-17. And that was us to get to 2-4. Yeah, this is Charlie Strong's first year at Texas or second year at Texas.
2-4.
Bro, we were horrible. Remember we lose. This is the first time we lose to Notre Dame because we lose to them the first time, and then we lose to Cal, and then we lose to TCU and Oklahoma State back to back. Bro, this is the year we were bad. Like this team was bad.
That Cal game, pissed me off so bad. That
there
game,
were a lot of games that year.
But we were winning. Remember, this is the real start of like, Texas is only a halftime team. Because at one point in time,
this is that wild game.
This was that one year. I remember this specifically. The stat was Texas is the best second half team in the nation.
Yep.
I was so pissed, bro, because we would come out and lay duds, absolute duds. Second half rolls around. You remember that?
We were balling, bro. Dude, we were down. No, it was tied at half. No, it was tied at half. The third quarter, they scored 21 straight. We were down by 3 touchdowns, and then we come back in the fourth quarter and I think tie the game or get very close.
Right,
get very close, and then we lost the game. Kalfani Muhammad had 10 receptions, 164 yards. I'm looking at this game. I actually want to go back to watch this game. This game was so frustrating. But anyway, I digress. We sucked, but we still beat OU with the tight end at one quarterback. I don't care what anybody says. So
it was basically a QB power. So basically,
that's all it was.
You had 2 backs in front. You had Tyrone Swoops in the back and a shotgun. Yep. And he just basically he picked a hole. They ran a little motion.
And ran it on your toe.
And ran it through it. And so you want to get fancy. Sometimes he was zone read. Yep. Sometimes he handed off. Sometimes he wouldn't. And then, boom, that was it.
And any time he didn't hand it off, it was a disaster because he was that bad. Right. Like, when you do those zone read fades and you try to throw it, dude couldn't throw. Couldn't even throw 5 yards.
He just didn't have enough time at the quarterback position. That was
he was there for 4 years. He was at Texas for 4 years.
Right, but he never really saw the field. That's why he went to tight end.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, because they had Javon Hurd. Not Javon, Gerard Hurd. They had Ash. They had Shane Buechele. Hurd. I think Ash was in there a little bit, right?
Right.
But those defenses we had were actually pretty good.
Those defenses were fantastic.
Anthony Wheeler, Poona Ford, Malik Jefferson. Yeah, we had some great defenses. We wasted so many. Deshaun Elliott. We wasted so many defensive talent. Oh my God, so much defensive talent we wasted. Devin Duvernay. Remember Devin Duvernay in those days? So good. Deontay Foreman. Colin Johnson. Listen, we had some players, just didn't have a quarterback. Anyway, listen, there's a story to this. We're coming back to it. I don't want to hear the tight end quarterback crap from OU fans from last year. Dylan Gabriel's not making up for 49 points.
I don't see it.
They got bobsled. You remember seeing Cool Runnings? You remember that movie? That's basically Texas versus OU last year.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was that bad.
Yeah.
So I don't want to hear about that. Anyway, those are my opening thoughts for Texas OU. Stop making excuses. We boat raced you last year, and we'll see what's next. But next thing I want to talk about real quick. So Steve Sarkisian had his virtual press conference today.
Right.
Thursdays he usually takes press conferences from home. I guess I don't know if today was an off day. I don't really know how that works. But Mondays they're usually in the stadium.
Right.
And you have your normal days,
right.
And then on Thursdays it's virtual.
Right.
But obviously, one of the things we wanted to find out is how's Ja'Tavion Sanders doing? He comes off hurt second quarter last week.
Right. Very scary.
Kind of limping around. It looked like he almost maybe might have tore his ACL or a knee or something like that because the way he was bent backwards. It also almost looked like my wife was watching and it was so. I think this is the game where it was so bad that his knee pad was sticking out. And my wife was like, "Oh my god!" His bone literally came out of his knee.
It looked nasty.
It looked really bad. But thankfully, nothing happened. He's good. He's been practicing, full practice, full participant. He's ready to roll. That means OU's going to get dragged even more. Listen, now you have to worry about Ja'Tavion Sanders, who can take any pass and run it for 30 on you.
Right.
You have A.D. Mitchell who can spread the middle, and we know OU can't defend the middle of the field for nothing, right?
Right.
You might as well put a wall there because OU doesn't defend the middle of the field. They only defend the outside. So as long as you stay in the middle, you could probably exploit them. But what is the biggest matchup you're looking out for this weekend?
That defensive line going up against that offensive line. I'm really, really hoping that Dylan Gabriel is running for his life.
Yeah.
I want that man on the ground. I want him hit. I want him stood over. I want him touched. I want him hurried. I don't want him to have a clean pocket for the whole. If I'm the defensive coordinator for the University of Texas, I'm telling them straight up, I don't want to see this guy set his feet at all.
Yeah.
He's get your hands up. Beat your one-on-ones. Make sure that you're paying attention to cadences. Make sure you're paying attention to the ball. Do whatever you can to get that advantage so that you can win your matchup and you can make that guy uneasy. That to me, this entire game, the most important thing is going to be that defensive line versus that offensive line.
Okay.
As a whole.
Yeah.
Not individual battles, as a whole. Can all of the defensive linemen for the University of Texas take out that offensive lineman and make Dylan Gabriel a non-factor?
Okay. No, and again, I think that's fair. And, we just went over it, right?
Right.
Texas gave up 30 yards of rushing in 3 quarters. I was trying to look up the stat for how many QB hurries and sacks Texas has. I think last week it was somewhere in the neighborhood of 7 or 8 hurries.
Right.
But I don't remember for sure. But this defense, the defensive line in particular, is the strength of this defense. We've talked about it all season. They run 10 deep. Anywhere from Barron Sorrells, Ethan Burke is producing. Anthony Hill, you put him down on the D-line from linebacker position, he's producing. You've got Devondre Sweat, Devondre Sweat is one really good game away, probably this weekend, from getting some serious contention for first round pick.
I think this is the stage.
Yeah.
This is a stage for a lot of players.
Yeah, absolutely.
Show out. Definitely.
And this is where Bo Davis will make his money. Right.
Right.
I was listening to Orange Buds as I do all day, every day.
Right.
Earlier this week, or in my case, all night because I like to listen to them at night when I'm catching up on stuff. And the Athletic wrote an article about how a coach in the SEC said that this team is more. Well, I don't remember if the word was scarier or better or both in person than they are on film.
Really?
An SEC, or a Big 12 head coach that Texas has played this year. A Big 12 coach that Texas has played this year in the last 2 weeks has said that this Texas team is scarier in person than they are in film, or they are better in person than they are on film.
Really?
And an SEC coach, which I'm guessing is Nick Saban, basically said the defensive line and the offensive lines beat the shit out of you. Something along those lines.
That sounds like Saban. That sounds like Saban.
So
yeah.
I have no worries about the defensive or offensive line against anything Oklahoma has.
Right.
Because I've seen their defensive and offensive lines. They just go against lesser competition. I think the key this week is going to be Jonathan Brooks versus the Oklahoma linebackers.
Okay.
And the reason why I say that is because I think Jonathan Brooks will get into that second level often.
Mm-hmm.
It is a matter of, can the Oklahoma linebackers tackle and prevent 5 or 6 yard carries becoming 15 to 16 yard carries.
Okay.
And there are a couple plays last week against Iowa State. Iowa State's not a good team, right? Let's just be honest.
Yeah, no, not at all.
They are not very good at all. And Dan Campbell's is feeling the hot seat down there. So they're not a good team. But there are a couple plays where if you got to the second level and you weren't up against Stutzman, who is probably their best player, they were missing tackles, like pretty significantly too, right? And like I think one play, like they missed the tackle in the backfield, the guy ran for like an additional 8 yards. Right. I'll tell you this right now: if those linebackers don't tackle this week, Jonathan Brooks might run. Jonathan Brooks might get 200 by himself.
Jonathan Brooks will go for 200. Jatavian Sanders is going to go for 100.
Yeah.
That is one thing you don't want to happen, because you don't want to start missing tackles, because then people really will try to impose their will on you.
Right.
And if you're not able to, especially out in the open field, man, if you don't make those open field tackles, and you start giving that offensive line confidence to where they feel that they can just walk you down and just kind of bully you wherever,
right.
You're gonna be in for a long day. And that's gonna piss your defensive lineman off, because your defensive lineman can only do so much.
And they're gonna have their hands full themselves.
Right. Though they have to play. They have to play as a unit. I don't know if you know this, but as of today, the ESPN matchup predictor has Oklahoma winning.
Don't care. That matchup predictor is literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
Because you know what it's based off of, right? It's basically based off of rankings, like scoring efficiency, how many points you scored, how many points you've given up. And Oklahoma's like 1 or 2 in every category because they don't play anybody.
They haven't played anyone. Right.
Right. So that score predictor can shove it. That is literally the dumbest thing I've ever seen.
Right.
It's one of the stupid things ESPN does. Is come up with stupid shit like that. Sorry,
right.
Excuse my language.
Right. No, you're exactly right. They listen. Dylan Gabriel's got over 1,500 yards passing already.
Quinn's got 1,360, right? Like he's not that far behind.
No, he's not. He's not that far behind. I'm just putting it out there. I'm giving guys some numbers, some stats to look over. Talk with your friends at the water cooler. You know, you got Andrew Anthony. He's their leading receiver. He's got 387 yards. So, I mean, they are completing passes. Dylan Gabriel has a nice completion rating. Again, they're playing against lesser opponents. He's completing 75% of his passes.
You
That's why
should.
you should.
You should.
Absolutely you should. Now, one thing that's pretty crazy. He's been sacked 4 times.
All season?
All season he's been sacked 4 times.
Okay.
On the other hand,
I think Quinn's been sacked like what?
Twice.
Twice.
I think
Okay.
twice.
Okay.
When it comes to the stats and stuff, look, all of this stuff, because it's a rivalry game, that shit goes out the window, man. It really does, and because you don't necessarily know who's going to be the hero. You remember that one year? I think that was it Sark's first year. Xavier Worthy came on like really, really, really strong, and we still lost, and we were up by 21.
Yeah, that was the year that Xavier Worthy takes the first play of the little screen pass,
75 yards,
straight down the field. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course I remember that.
75 yards.
Yeah, that was Sark's first. That was Sark's first year.
Dude, we were talking about leaving and going to some other place to watch the game during halftime.
Yeah, that game was over.
That we definitely thought it was over. So then this happens. That happens. Next thing you know,
we find out who Caleb Williams is.
Right, he gets benched. Rattler gets put on the bench. Caleb Williams comes in, starts running around, doing all types of crazy stuff like he normally does. And we lose. So when it comes to these rivalry games, you cannot go in here just thinking that if you get up big, you're gonna be good. You got to basically put your foot on the throat until from first quarter to the end. And that's just pretty much it, man. It's gonna be some fighting. I know there's gonna be some fighting. It's gonna be a lot of trash talk. You know, it could get a little chippy. It's gonna definitely get a little chippy. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. Like you said, I mean, Jonathan Brooks, man, I really think he's gonna have a big game.
I do too.
We haven't, and to be fair, for Longhorn fans, we've been really, really blessed to have as many running backs as we've had. Even in our down years, we've had really good running backs. Jonathan Brooks can it kind of feels like he can do it all. I'm not going to say he's a better Bijan because Bijan is Bijan. Look what he's doing in the league right now, even on a trashy team. But he has home run capability. He can be an every down back. He's a workhorse. I mean, just alone, he's had 86 carries for 597. So we know that he's able to put he's averaging 7 yards a carry. So we know that he can do it. And Harish, you've talked about how special he is ever since he got here. How he's had these big plays out of nowhere where he'll come in maybe one or two, maybe even just a series.
Yeah.
And next thing you know, he's popped off a 40-yard or maybe even a 50-yard run. So I really think this is going to be a big game for Jonathan Brooks. Maybe even we might even get a Heisman moment out of him. We might get
maybe we'll see.
If there, just hear me out. If Texas is to go up big, to me, they have had opportunities through the air. But for some reason, when they get rolling, after looking at these last couple of weeks, when they get rolling, it just kind of opens everything up. When they get to running the ball, it's a different type of situation, man. It looks like it's two totally different teams. I've seen a team that can air it out. We've seen that at Alabama. We've seen these last 2 weeks. They just start steamrolling you, and it's like, what do you do? What do you do?
It's I think They start steamrolling you, and it's not that they can't throw the ball; it's just they don't have to.
They don't have to, and that's a great part. That's a great part of that game because nobody wants to tackle you in the fourth quarter.
Right.
I don't want to tackle a guy I've seen like 5 or 6 times in the fourth quarter. No,
Right.
Nobody wants to do that.
And also, I've got to block these 6'8", 350-pound linemen first, and then I gotta go tackle this guy who's like 6'4", 250, 260.
And I got a game 7 days from now.
And then I gotta do it all over again next week. So, but yeah, I think Jonathan Brooks is gonna have a big week. I would be shocked. You know what? I'm gonna go out on one. I think CJ Baxter has over 100 yards this week.
What? Not me jumping on the Jonathan Brooks train and then you jumping on the CJ Baxter train?
Well, I don't need to jump off the Jonathan Brooks chain. I'm already at its final destination.
You're the conductor. You're the conductor.
I'm already at the final destination. I just forgot CJ back there, so I had to go get his train and bring it on. So, I think CJ Baxter has over 100 yards, and I think Jonathan Brooks has over 100 yards. I think they both eat next week.
Okay. So you think the main focal point will be the rushing attack this week?
Yeah, because I just don't think Oklahoma's front seven is that good.
Right.
Besides Danny Stutzman, right?
Right.
They're just not that good. They're better than last year, but they're not better. Definitely. But they're not 49 points good.
Okay, so that leads us into the next topic. What's the biggest matchup? What if Texas wins? I'm sorry. What if Texas wins?
So Texas wins if what happens, Tim?
Well, we already talked about it. We already kind of went in depth in it. If Texas runs the ball effectively, this game's over. I think it's over in the first half. If you impose your will in that first half, I could easily see them getting down and getting to the point to where, the clock, you got these 10-minute drives, these 10-minute, these 10-minute possessions, and you're putting up points on the board. That's a long day. That's a long fucking day.
I think that's going to happen a lot.
Right. Now, if you don't, and you're putting up 3 points instead of 7, and you're keeping these guys in the game, that, again, it's a rivalry game. All you need is one pop. If you go down and you continue to run the ball, you run the ball, you run the ball. Let's say Texas gets the ball 3 consecutive possessions and they don't put up 21 points. Let's say they put up, for shits and giggles, let's say they put up 9. Let's say they get down to the red zone 3 times and they put up field goals. All it takes is one trick play, one bad fumble, one muff punt, which has happened way too many times.
Yep.
Where a punt's been muffled.
Changes the entire momentum of this.
Right. It changes it. It just like that. Even if you've got time of possession, even if you've got yardage, none of that is going to matter if you suck. And if you're not punching that ball into the end zone. It's a big difference from 21-9.
Yeah. The one thing is that is the true in all rivalry games. That is especially true in this rivalry game.
Right.
Because of the way the field is set up. For those of you that don't know, this is literally cut down the middle. Half the stadium is burnt orange, half the stadium is burgundy, or whatever the hell color that OU uses. I don't even know. Don't really care. Anyway.
Right.
Well, but basically you could be starting a drive on the 25 on your own 25 and it's all A's and yays. As soon as you cross the 50, it feels like an away game.
It feels like an away game. Right.
It is literally, and I've never been to a Texas OU game. It's still on my bucket list. I'm going to try to go next year when it's a primetime game in the SEC. Listen, hot take, early prediction for 2024. This game will be a primetime game next year.
Yeah, no more 11 o'clocks, dog. No more 11 o'clocks.
This will be a 7:30 kickoff next year. Absolutely.
I agree with you.
100. And actually, my favorite commissioner, Sankey, will be at the game this week.
Yeah, he's talked in really good and really high spirits because he knows what he's getting ready to get. He's getting ready to strengthen his conference even more.
Yeah. This rivalry strengthens the SEC because they already have great rivalries. This isn't just about the rivalry. This is about the type of rivalry that it is.
Right.
This game, this 50-50 split, the ability to show this to that many more viewers on CBS at night, bro.
I don't think there's
not another game like it.
There's not a rivalry in SEC that looks like this.
There's not a rivalry anywhere that looks like this.
Yeah, that's pretty much true. Yeah.
There's rivalries like Ohio State, Michigan is a great rivalry.
Right.
Alabama, LSU is a great rivalry. Right. But those are all home and homes. Right. Let's go. You can only go to Tuscaloosa at night and it'd be cool so many times. This game is lit. And so, but the thing is, just like last year, if one team is getting their butt kicked, all of a sudden you cross the 50 and it's like nobody's there. That's how wild this game can get.
Right. So, it can look like a graveyard on one side and it can look like a party on the other. Right.
That's exactly what it looked like last year. So, anyway, back to the topic. And Jeremy, thanks for commenting. Great game to attend. Went every year I could when I lived in the D. I still cannot manage to find tickets that are affordable enough for me to go to this game every year. I swear next year, I'm actually going to get season tickets next year for Texas.
Okay.
I will make sure I go to this game. I need to experience this game once. So
and shout out to Jeremy. It's been a long time, man. Good to see you.
Hope you're doing well, man.
Yeah, it's good to see you, man.
For me, Texas wins this game if Oklahoma shows up.
You got all faith that.
I have zero.
You have zero faith in Oklahoma whatsoever.
Zero faith in Oklahoma. I still listen. I still listen to Brent Venables speak, and half the time, I'm like, what is this guy talking about?
You know what? Sometimes I question myself because remember, I was very.
You love Brent Venables.
Very high on Brent Venables.
Yeah.
What he's done defensively with his tenure at Clemson, absolutely like. That dude has done some crazy stuff.
He has the talent to do it too.
Right. He's got the talent to do it at Oklahoma. He's got some safeties out there. He's got a stud corner, defensive line. They keep pulling these defensive linemen out of the state of Texas. I don't know what's going on still, but they're still able to go and pick and prod out of the state. And again, we know you're not going to be able to get everybody, but they are getting some ballers from the state of Texas.
David Stone. Yeah, David Stone hurt a lot.
Yeah, that hurt.
Guy, yeah. But when I just listened to this guy talk, dude, I'm just like, what is this guy even saying?
No, he's a few sandwiches short of a picnic basket.
Okay, hey man, and that's what
it's not coach talk.
Yeah,
this is him. This is his real personality.
No, and there's a coach. You know who else is like this?
Dabo.
Nick Sirianni for the Eagles.
Nick
you remember his opening press conference when he was talking about flowers and blooming flowers and stuff?
Man.
And then 2 years later, he's in the Super Bowl. So that's why I'm just like, oh, he says these weird things.
Nick Sirianni is the same way. Hey, man. Shout out to my man. God rest his soul, man.
Bro.
Shout out to our boy, old Texas Tech head coach, old Miss head coach. Man, he would talk relatively nuts. He had some crazy wild things.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I think Texas wins if the secondary doesn't give up the deep ball.
Okay.
And Oklahoma's going to take a lot of shots in this game. The one touchdown that Kansas got last week was off the deep ball, and it was off blown coverage.
Yeah,
those safeties. I don't think you need those safeties to come down and be kind of worried about the run game. I don't think Oklahoma has a great running game. I think they try to force a running game.
Right.
I think it's great, but I do think they try to force it. But what I am concerned about is they try to get overzealous and get a little bit aggressive, and they tend to, and then you got all of a sudden you get beaten.
And that's what happens, right?
Yeah.
If a smart quarterback, which not saying that Dean's not, but with that one play, absolutely.
Yeah.
He saw two safeties, they cheated up, and he made him pay for it. He definitely made him pay for it. So I mean, I you have absolutely no faith that Oklahoma is going to show up at all.
Oh no, I mean it's. I talk a lot of trash, but this is at the end of this day. I've seen too much weird stuff in this game to say that.
Right.
I do not expect this to be 49-0 at all.
Oh no,
that was a fluke. That was definitely a fluke.
I feel like Oklahoma. I don't feel like it was a fluke. I just think Oklahoma was trash, and they just knew. They knew how to attack them. They knew exactly what to do. They had a quarterback in there that was young, right? Oklahoma had a quarterback in there that was young, was not able to hold up, And again, this is not a generational talent thing like a Caleb Williams or Jalen Hurts or Kyler Murray. They don't have that. That's not there right now.
Well, maybe they do. I heard Jackson Arnold's really good, but he's. But I don't really know too much about.
Are they going to bench if realistically speaking?
1,000%. Yes, I know what you're about to ask. If Homeboy sucks, are they going to bench him? I think if Dylan Gabriel's that bad, I think Venables benches him.
I mean, you got Dylan Gabriel, you got Jackson Arnold. You think Jackson Arnold's going to start over Dylan Booty?
He won't start, but he'll play.
I mean, over General Booty. Do you think if
bro, do you remember General Booty in this game last year? He was bad.
He was a freshman.
Bad. Doesn't matter, dude. That dude was bad. He was bad.
Speaking of that, Jackson Arnold and General Booty, both from Texas. Again, they continue to go in and grab these guys. Caleb Hicks, freshman, number 0, had a decent game. Texas. It's just wild how many Texans are on this Oklahoma team. It seems like there were more than there were last year. I could be wrong.
But here's the thing. You already have Malik Muhammad on the roster.
Right.
You have Quinn Ewers on the roster. You have Arch Manning on the roster. So where are these guys going to play?
Hey man, I just want to.
You can't have them all, man.
I want them all, man. I know it's like
you can't have them all.
I want them all.
All right. So before we get to predictions, the last thing I want to ask you is when Texas wins this game. Spoiler alert, I have Texas winning. Who wears the golden hat first?
I'm gonna say this, and we've talked about it already in detail. If Malik Murphy has not a Malik Murphy, good Lord, if Jonathan Brooks has a big game or Jatavian Sanders, whoever has the biggest game is gonna wear the hat first. So if Xavier Worthy goes for 9 of 5, he gets targeted 9 times, he catch 5 balls for 140 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's wearing the hat first, man. He's wearing the hat first. If that defensive line sacks Dylan Gabriel 4, 5, 6 times, if they, I can see somebody from the defensive line wearing the hat first. It all is going to depend on who was the big factor. It could be Jatavian Sanders. I can see Quinn. Hey, I threw for 330 and 4 touchdowns. Give me that. That's mine.
Yeah.
It all depends on who's going to be whoever contributes the most to the win will wear the hat.
Okay. I think T'Vondre Sweat wears the hat. And I think T'Vondre Sweat has his coming out party this week. Solidifies himself as a first round pick. That dude has been playing lights out all season.
Yes.
And this is going to be the biggest stage. I also think Baron Saros is going to have an excellent game. He actually He was actually low key talking some trash. I saw an article. He was basically saying these guys haven't seen anything like this ever before.
Right.
So these guys are confident, and as Texas fans, this is the type of confidence that's like, yeah, y'all not ready for us. Like,
right.
You think you might be.
It's one thing to be confident. It's another thing to be cocky. I'm all
I
for the
don't think they're
confident.
cocky.
I'm all for the confident. You could tell. You could kind of tell because Sark always talks about being not getting too high, not getting too high, like not getting too high, not smelling yourself, not overdoing it, like just getting do your job and go home.
He talked about last night how they had the press conference. And he's like, yeah, nobody got on the not on the mic. Nobody got on the mic. It was like, blah blah blah. You know how people like get like super hype on the mic and they just say crazy outrageous stuff. Nobody said anything outrageous. And again, but at the same token, they're like, yeah, I don't think they've seen anything like this before.
That's awesome. That is awesome. I like that type of talk. I like that type of talk. You don't have to say much. You come in here, you steamroll these guys, you move on the next week. Speaking of Golden Hat, also, who I think should be in the finals to win the Dick Butkus Award, RIP, because he did pass away today.
I saw that.
Ford.
Jalen Ford. I think Ford's gonna have a great game.
He's gonna eat. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait to see him eat. This is what I want. Perfect scenario. Oklahoma gets the ball to start the half. They start the game off getting the ball. Dylan Gabriel drops back, throws a pass over the middle, ball gets tipped. Jalen Ford comes up with it.
Pick six. So you want OU to start? I'm always the complete opposite in these bigger games. I want to punch you in the face first.
No.
I want to punch you in the mouth first.
No. Here's why. Your defense. You got to be a little nuts to have to play defense. You don't just something about a lot of these guys, especially like safeties, linebackers, defensive linemen, they're a little bit unhinged. Even the cornerbacks. Even the cornerbacks are a little bit. Something ain't all the way there, right?
Okay.
If you get those guys rolling first, that just I don't know. It's something that's so magnetic about having, because you can have a juggernaut offense, and we've seen juggernaut offenses. We just seen USC almost lose last week to a team gutted by injuries last week. So you can have a juggernaut offense. We've had juggernaut offenses. It just doesn't translate over if you have a terrible defense. If you got a damn good defense and that defense is flying around hitting people in the mouth, you call it a day, dog. You call it a day.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Touche. All right, man. Time has come. We've been talking about this game for about, let's say 45 minutes or so.
Right.
What are your final predictions?
Okay. So I've just been looking at just a couple of things, right? We've talked about defensive line. We talked about position battle. We've talked about jumping out, getting ahead. Again, for me, it's all about what we've already seen. It's not necessarily the tail of the tape. On paper, we know who Texas has played. We know who Oklahoma has played. We've seen Oklahoma and what they can do. Not bad. Again, it's against lesser talent. With that being said, I had to think realistically. Oklahoma is averaging 47 points a game. Texas is averaging 36. Now, Oklahoma hasn't seen or have been battle tested just yet. I expect them to make some key mistakes in an environment like that. So, with that being said, and I know this is going to sound nuts, but I'm saying Texas rolls Oklahoma 40-21.
Okay. That's actually not as bad as I thought.
I'm thinking Oklahoma gets the majority of their scores in the first half.
Yep.
I think it will be relatively tight in the first half. I think Sark makes his adjustments. Again, what we've been talking about for the last 6 weeks. They may even be tied at the end of the first half, 21-21. I think Texas makes the adjustments needed, and then from that point on, you start to see where this is just a more prepared, a more battle-tested team, and Texas begins to start to roll that second half. So again, I have Texas 42 or 40 to 21.
Okay. I actually kind of have it going the opposite way.
Okay.
I see both defenses playing very well in the first half.
Okay.
And I think Sark will adjust pretty quickly to that.
Okay.
I think it'll be very similar to what you see in the Kansas game.
Mm-hmm.
You'll see a lot of field goals on both sides.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll see, Texas. I think you'll see. I think Quinn throws at least one interception in this game.
Okay.
Of some crazy stuff.
Right.
With that being said, I've seen it enough times this year that Texas is Texas, and this is a different Texas that we've seen in a very long time.
Absolutely.
And they'll figure it out. And once they figure it out, they're going to shut that shit down.
Right.
I have Texas 34-17.
Okay. So we're kind of in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the same ballpark.
Yeah. You had 40 to 21. I had 34 to 17.
Right.
And I just think Oklahoma, there's going to be and there's just always something weird that happens in this game. There's going to be one of those like weird Kansas.
The Hassan Ridgeway interception.
Yeah. The Caleb Williams running around for like 10 minutes and then finding CeeDee Lamb in the end zone wide open.
Right.
From 2021. Like you should find weird things that just happen in this game.
Right.
And yeah, the comeback Texas had, Sam Ellinger's last game, or where they're down 10, 15, 16 points and they come back all the way, win the game in overtime.
Right.
Like there's just weird things that happen. And to account for, I think a lot of that weirdness happens in the first half. Okay. And then I think Sark is sure enough as a coach. He's been in this game now 3 times where he settles his team down. And I think this team just has a different type of culture to where they're not going to sync with the highs and they're not going to, go with the highs and sync with the lows.
Right.
I think Quinn quietly has a good game. I think he throws for a lot of yards. I think he probably has like 2 touchdowns and a pick. I think Jonathan Brooks and CJ Baxter both have over 100 yards rushing.
Man, if
they're gonna lean on this team.
Right.
And that's what I say.
Yeah, if they have the opportunity to where they can both rush for over 100 yards, that's 9 times out of 10 you're gonna lose the game. You can't have 2 running backs run for over 100 yards. It doesn't matter if it's a big play or not. You can't have it.
If there's a team that Texas wants to break mentally, it's this team right here.
Of course, because they have an opportunity to see them again in a couple weeks in December.
Yeah, but I think they want to lean on them now. Right. And basically said, hey, I hope you're ready for December if you make it.
Right.
Because this team's just going to keep getting better. This team's not going to get any worse.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you right now, if Texas leaves this game undefeated, there's not another team on the schedule that's going to beat them.
No, and they will probably, honestly, just me thinking, if they were to win this game and they win it pretty handily, both of us have, based on both of our scores, that's a pretty big gap, right?
Yeah.
Or a point differential. That's a big point difference. If they win and they win in the fashion that we would like them to, they're the number 1 team in the country.
I think they're the number 1 team in the country if they win regardless.
Right.
Because now you're talking about 3 top 25 teams, 2 teams in the top 15 that you've beaten, 2 of them not even at your house.
Right.
1 on a neutral site, 1 in Alabama.
Okay.
Nobody has a resume like Texas after that.
Right.
Not even close. Texas, and obviously the thing that will make it help is Georgia losing to Kentucky this week.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just don't. If Texas wins, it doesn't matter what the score is. Mm-hmm. They're going to be the number 1 ranked team in the country.
Right.
Jeremy says, I think it might be a little tighter, like 32-27, but that is based on something you did not discuss. Both teams play party hard when in Dallas, and one of the coaches can keep that down. Yeah, no, I just think Texas is that much better than Oklahoma.
Right.
Like,
I think, and based on what you were saying, yeah, I've heard different things. We talked about Mike Leach earlier. He had some fumble Ruski stuff where he drops his playbook, this fake playbook on the ground, and wanted to pick it up, and they go and they think they know what Oklahoma's doing, and they're doing something completely opposite. I think Texas knows that they have something right in front of them. I think they understand how important that it is to continue to win out all of these games, because we've seen teams, Alabama's are going to get the benefits of the doubts. There's a lot of people that do not, and I'm just this, again, being a fan, it just seems like a lot of people are just not necessarily interested in the state of Texas as far as football is concerned. So if they were to drop a game, will they still be ranked? Yeah. Will they fall really far? Very, very possible.
You think so? Here, if Texas, let's see if Oklahoma wins by a field goal. How far does Texas drop? I don't think they drop below the top 5.
I think if Texas loses, I think Texas is out of the top 10.
Out of the top 10?
Yeah.
Really?
Absolutely. I think if they lose by 3, they're not going to be in the top 10. They'll be 11, 12. They won't be in the top 10.
Okay. I think, yeah, I don't think they top. I think they fall to like 7, 8, because I also think Georgia could lose this weekend. If you look at how these teams have been winning this year,
right?
Well, I guess that maybe contradicts me, because if you see how teams have been playing now, Texas plays poorly and they lose by 3,
right?
But if they lose on some freak stuff, well, actually, here's a question: how far did Ohio State fall when they lost to Notre Dame, or how far did Notre Dame fall when they lost to Ohio State? 2 spots.
I think Notre Dame fell to
11.
I think so.
From
11
6.
or 12.
Okay.
11 or 12, something around that.
I could see I think they could. I could see Texas falling to like 8, 9, or 10.
We'll see. Hopefully, we don't have to ever find out.
So, but yeah, Jeremy says these parties can get out of hand. Listen, ain't nobody on Texas's roster is going to any type of party. I promise.
Yeah, no, they're gonna keep that tight.
Yeah,
they're gonna keep that.
I can guarantee that.
Way too much to lose.
Yeah,
I think Sark's got these guys focused.
This is a different Texas team. I don't think we're worrying about that.
I also think that Sark is coaching for an extension. This is the year. If you don't mail it in, if you don't make the proper moves in, I don't see Sark getting extended. I just don't see
either. I don't think Sark gets. I don't think this game determines if he gets an extension.
No, I don't think. I'm not saying. I'm not
but
saying
if he wins
this game. I'm just saying, like, hey, this is how you make it harder for them to say, hey,
this is like the midterm.
Right. We need to get this guy paid.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, they do have a special kind of focus. Yeah, this team just acts differently, plays differently, they're coached differently. This team is the most different Texas team we've seen in 15 years. Probably since 09.
Absolutely.
And that obviously is a team that went to the national title. So yeah, right. I'm not worried about little things like that getting out. I think this is a very disciplined, very focused, very mentally ready team. And they went to Tuscaloosa and they beat Alabama. I think this is a different team. So anyway, hitting up on an hour and a half here. Tim, why don't you let the people know where we can find you, and we'll get on out of here.
Hey man, you can find me at Tim Wayne on Twitter or X. Feel free to again talk football. We can talk any sports. I'm not really big on hockey, so don't come to me with that shit. But but yeah, we could talk Texas, we could talk pro football, we could talk it all. But yeah, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always down to have a good time.
And you can reach out to me on Twitter at the Uncle Gandhi. I also run the LH Fan Battle Twitter page. If you come out with cash fire, I definitely guarantee it's not more fire than my cash fire. So you can try. Also, obviously, we're trying to build a community. Join us. Follow us on our YouTube channel, Longhorn Fan Battle. Follow also again, visit our website, fanbattlesports.com. We are a part of the Fan Battle Sports Network. Love being here, and we appreciate those guys giving us an opportunity. Without further ado, my name's Uncle Gandhi, aka Harish. That's my guy, Tim Wayne, who's kind of frozen on my end. I don't know what's going on. It's real quick. It is 10:45 p.m. and OU still sucks. Peace.
Peace.
Go home, touchdown.